Now, you've been nominated to lead an agency with authority to regulate aircraft, airspace, and airmen. So, Mr. Washington, can you quickly tell me what airspace requires an ADS-B transponder?
Not sure I can answer that question right now.
So what are the 6 types of special use airspace that protect this national security that appear on FAA charts?
Sorry, Senator, I cannot answer that question.
So can you tell me what causes an aircraft to spin or to stall?
Again, Senator, I'm not a pilot.
The 3
No.
types? Okay.
I don't want to guess on that. No, I cannot.
That's okay. Okay.
The FAA aims to hire people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities for diversity.
Mr. Reagan.
Before we start, remember to buy all my overpriced stuff on Teespring. I got some really great new t-shirts and mugs that I'm really proud of, so go have a look at that stuff, or just send me money via Super Thanks here on YouTube so we can keep trying to save the world. These videos aren't always great, but every once in a while, I produce a gem. All right, let's get into it. For a while now, Twitter has been talking about the potentially disastrous effects of DEI. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. This, of course, is just a new term to describe affirmative action, which is, of course, illegal. You can't hire people based on their race. That is illegal. But leftists have changed the names of things to skirt the law and to confuse people for decades. It's a very common leftist tactic. And so lots of companies are still hiring black people just because they're black. They hire gay men just because they're gay. They hire women just because they're women, regardless of qualifications. And one industry that has promised to implement this, that has conservatives on Twitter just a tad concerned, is the airline industry. Every time there's a plane crash now, everybody jumps in the comment section with questions like, was the pilot a woman or were they black? My friend, comedian Chrissy Mayer, did a lovely video expressing her relief the pilots on her flight were white men.
Look at the pilots are white.
So wonderful, yes. Good to see.
Pilots are white.
A while back, there was even a report that those hiring air traffic controllers would be following a DEI agenda, and this was naturally a bit alarming. Do you want to be responsible for ensuring the safety of thousands of people every day? Do you want to be responsible for keeping passenger jets in the air and keeping these people from dying? Do you want all of this, but you're afraid you're unqualified? Well, don't be. All we require is that you're black, gay, or a woman. Preferably all 3. The more black, gay, and woman you are, the fewer traditional qualifications we require. Now, we haven't heard much from the airline industry directly because obviously this is a disastrous policy. But what's particularly insane is that a little while ago, the New York Post discovered that the FAA's website states that the agency has, quote, identified for special emphasis in recruitment and hiring those with disabilities, including vision, hearing, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism. All right, we'll get into the absurdity of all of this in one moment. First, of course, I have to sell you something. All right, you know those ads for buying prepper food kits in case disaster strikes? Well, this is one of those ads. But I think the ad copy that the company gave me, I actually think it's pretty good. It's compelling. Listen to this. They wrote, "You won't believe it, but Gen Z is probably more prepared than you are. Recent research reveals a whopping 40% of Gen Z is prepared for the worst. That's twice what Gen X is doing. Shocked? Well, Gen Z knows that something big is coming. And look, maybe not. Maybe nothing big is coming. Maybe everything is going to be just fine. But a lot of us are pretty concerned about the 2024 election, and you know that it is possible that everything is not going to be just fine. I'm preparing for the worst in ways that you would not believe. Actually, I'm doing way more than buying food kits. But if you have a family, the time to do something about a potential disaster in America really is right now. So go to my affiliate link, preparewithmrreagan.com, and there you will find a really good offer, actually. This is really unusual for My Patriot Supply. It's a 1-year food kit, a food kit large enough to last you 1 whole year, and they're going to give you $700 off. So this is just under $2,000. But then basically you are set. You are good to go. All right, let me read the rest of this copy here. My Patriot Supply has helped millions of Americans Americans, prepare for emergencies. They're ready to help you too. Sealed inside rugged 4-layer packaging, their delicious meals last up to 25 years in storage and provide over 2,000 calories a day. That's over 2,000 calories a day for over a year at a special price of under $2,000. This rare emergency food kit deal ends this week and you won't see it again. And look, if you're not interested in this, don't worry about it. But if you do want this kind of thing, I think now is actually a really good time to get it. So go to preparewithmrreagan.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithmrreagan.com. Now, I think this special emphasis stuff is garbage in the first place, but severe intellectual disability? This is particularly dangerous. Several disabilities on this list disqualify people from jobs all over America, all over the world, every single day. But severe intellectual disability? That should disqualify a person from basically every job. What job could you possibly do with a severe intellectual disability? I don't get it. All right, so this is the article from the New York Post. FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. The Federal Aviation Administration is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative spelled out on the agency's website. Targeted disabilities are those disabilities that the federal government, as a matter of policy, has identified for special emphasis in recruitment and hiring. The FAA's website states they include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan, which claims diversity is integral to achieving FAA's mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel across our nation and beyond. You know, there's nothing safer than people of multiple races. That's like the most safe thing, right? Really helps out with safety. The FAA's website shows the agency's guidelines on diversity hiring were last updated on March 23rd, 2022. The FAA, which is overseen by Secretary Pete Buttigieg's Department of Transportation, is a government agency charged with regulating civil aviation and employs roughly 45,000 people. All eyes have been on the FAA and airline industry in recent days after a plug door on a Boeing 737 MAX 9 blew out during an Alaska airline flight on January 5th. Following the incident, social media commentators and public figures have charged that airlines and airline manufacturers' emphasis on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives has made flying less safe. Do you want to fly in an airplane where they prioritize DEI hiring over your safety? Tech billionaire Elon Musk wrote on X last week. That is actually happening. The DEI rot in the airline industry is way worse than you think, Daily Wire commentator Matt Walsh wrote in an op-ed last week. Critics of such commentary have pushed back on the argument that prioritizing DEI has made travel less safe, with civil rights groups slamming Musk, for example, for the abhorrent and pathetic tweet. You're abhorrent and pathetic. And so is your tweet. Don't talk about my tweet, all right? On the FAA's website, the agency claims that people with severe mental and physical disabilities are the most underrepresented segment of the workforce. Yeah, you think? You know, the people who can't do this job don't tend to work here that much, and I just don't think it's fair. Because diversity is so critical, FAA actively supports and engages in a variety of associations, programs, coalitions, and initiatives to support and accommodate employees from diverse communities and backgrounds. Our people are our strength, and we take great care in investing in and valuing them as such, the FAA states. All right, let me just throw this out there right now, real quick. Diversity is not critical. Okay, it's not. It's not critical. All right, I made a little joke about that before with the multicolored faces being so important to safety. The reason that that's funny is because that is not true. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. And so when I say that diversity helps us with safety and efficiency, I'm making a joke, because it doesn't. Everybody knows it doesn't. Even black people know it. Even gay people know it. Even women know it. Everybody knows this deep down, right? This is the ugly truth, that diversity actually doesn't improve anything. It does one of two things. It either doesn't change the quality of a company, a product, a service, doesn't change it at all, or it makes it worse. Now, how can it make it worse? Because if you have 1,000 potential employees, you know, some people to choose from to hire, and the top 997 are straight white men, and the last 3 are a gay dude, a woman, and a black lesbian, or something like that, right? And you say, I'm not going to hire the top 997 people. I'm going to hire these 3. You know why? Because of all the gay men, of all the women, of all the black lesbians, these 3 are the best. So I'm going to bring them in. You know what you end up with? Let's say you're hiring engineers for an engineering team. You know what you end up with? A collapsing bridge. Because you didn't bring in the best. You brought in the best of a specific group that you like. Okay? How does diversity, how does racial diversity, how does sexual preference diversity, how does gender diversity, how does it actually help anything? Has anybody ever actually explained that? No, of course they haven't, because it's not true. Diversity is not our strength. Diversity is our weakness. When asked for comment about the initiative, including what roles people with disabilities would fulfill, the FAA told Fox News Digital that the agency thoroughly seeks and vets qualified candidates from as many sources as possible for a range of positions. The FAA employs tens of thousands of people for a wide range of positions, from administrative roles to oversight and execution of critical safety functions. Like many large employers, the agency proactively seeks qualified candidates from as many sources as possible, all of whom must meet rigorous qualifications that, of course, will vary by position, the FAA said. And look, okay, yeah, maybe you have all of these rigorous standards that people have to exceed in order to qualify for the position, but if you really care about diversity, equity, and inclusion so much, right, are you really going to be that strict with enforcing that standard? Maybe, maybe not. That's what people are concerned about. When you go out and you say, we care more about diversity than we care about qualifications, we're not going to pick the best people, we're going to pick the most diverse people. When you say that, yeah, it makes people a little nervous because they suspect that perhaps you're not choosing the best because you're openly saying we're not choosing the best. And even if you do have these strict qualifications, these strict standards, and even if you do abide by them perfectly, again, if you have a broad spectrum of candidates and the top candidates, let's say, again, 1,000 of them passed, but the top 997 of them are all straight white men, and you choose the bottom 3 because they're diverse, that's not good. You're not picking the best people. You're just picking the best black lesbian. You know, it is a terrible policy for the company. It's a terrible policy for all those people who don't get hired, who are the best at what they do. And it's a terrible policy for us, the consumer, the people whose lives depend on your picking the best people. All right, look, that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Go buy all my overpriced stuff on Teespring. Like I said, I got some really great t-shirts and mugs and stuff that I'm really proud of. So go have a look at that stuff, or just send me money through the super thanks here on YouTube so we can keep trying to save the world. As I said at the top of the show, these videos are not always great, but every once in a while, I produce a gem. All right, thanks for watching. And remember, it's not that liberal friends are ignorant. It's just they know so much that is not so. Good night.
The goal for all of us should be that one day things will be done neither because of nor in spite of any of the differences between us, ethnic differences or racial differences, whatever they may be, that we will have total equal opportunity for all people. And I would do everything I could in my power to bring that about.